Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Monday, November 10th, 2025. Whew, guys, it is super, super cold out. We got the first snow of the season yesterday, and then we got a little bit more snow last night, and then the temperatures dropped. And so today it was pretty brutal. We'll talk a little bit more about it. And the race that I did over the weekend. But first, I want to say hi to everyone listening on the audio only version on the podcast. Guys, hopefully you are dressed very warm. Today, I could have used mittens instead of gloves, and I could have used a winter hat rather than a baseball cap. Hopefully, you did not make the same mistake I did because, man, the first half of my run running into the wind was brutal. And for everyone else watching this later but not live, hopefully you are tucked underneath some covers now after cleaning up after dinner. Maybe you've already put the kids to bed. Now you're just relaxing, toasty. Maybe you even got some compression boots on. You know, I got to tell you guys, I'm a guy who loves, we call them, I love the ads like you get in junk mail. Like, you know what the grocery stores got on sale this week? Like, I just love thumbing through that on a regular basis. And I also love Costco now that I live near a Costco. But Costco doesn't always have a circular that they send out. But there's a whole genre of YouTube channel, which is basically people walking around Costco and telling you what's on sale. I have been sucked into that genre of YouTube. And they've been talking about the compression boots, the smarter... What is it? Smarter image? Is that what it's called? Smarter image? Sharper image. Compression boots. Maybe you got some of those on. I've been thinking about them. They're super cheap. They're like less than $200. Maybe someone knows about them here. But anyway, if you're watching this later but not live, compression boots or no, you're in the right place. All right. Runner Will is here. He says, hello, my friends. Hope you're all having a great day. Good to see you, Will. Raj Kumar Rashinji says, congrats on the cross-country race, Mr. Kofuzi. Can't wait for your Coros 4 review in comparison to Coros 3, which I bought after your review. Thanks. Yeah, so thanks on the race. By the way, I'm wearing the race swag right now. This is the race shirt. It's called Camp Big Timber. It's a Boy Scouts facility. It's a camp. And this is a series of 4 different races. This is, I think, the longest. They're usually about 4 miles long. But this is the 4th and last of the year. And as part of signing up, instead of like a race shirt or like a long sleeve, they give you a flannel shirt. And it's got the race logo embroidered onto the shirt. It's not silkscreen. It's embroidered. It's really nice. The shirt is okay. It feels a little starchy. Maybe with some wears and washes, it'll get nicer. But I just love the embroidery. And there's a little cross-country runner guy holding an axe. But I'm going to pretend that he's holding a selfie stick, you know, to make it more like I'm being represented better in this race. So I'm just loving this. I'm just loving it. So I don't know if I'll get to do this race every year. If it's the same year as Indy next year, I don't know. I'd like to go down to Indy again, but so we'll see. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I'll talk more about it. I did wear the Coros 4, which I'm wearing now. The embargo on that lifted today. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to do a Coros Pace 4 versus everybody video about it. And I'll do Pace Pro, Apex 4, Garmin 265, and then Apple Watch Ultra. I have the Ultra too, so I feel like I'll just compare those. And I'm going to try to keep that video under 10 minutes. I'm going to keep it short because I can't do, I can easily do a long watch video. I don't think anyone wants that. I think it's just, I need to keep it short and punchy, you know. JC says, hey everyone, the Indy half marathon was loaded, lots of fast times. Yeah, it looked like a lot of people have been racing the Indy half, which I think that's kind of new, right? People have not gone to Indy to run the half before. People will go to run the full, but not the half. And so the unique thing about Indy is that they do their race on Saturday, not Sunday. which was lucky because they even got snow in Indy on Sunday. But then instead, they just had really nice conditions on Saturday for the race, which is good. Mark says there was snow over the weekend in Minnesota. Nothing compared to the conditions of the high school Heartland NXN race in South Dakota or the JUCO National Championships in Iowa, though. So I watched on YouTube. I didn't watch it live, but I watched the JUCO championships because I saw the clip of it, right? Or like the thumbnail of it on YouTube. And I'm on the treadmill as I'm watching it. I forget, it was the evening of the race was in the morning. I watched it that evening. I guess it was Saturday night. So Saturday evening, I'm on the treadmill and I'm watching it. And the first thing I hear is that they're in Fort Dodge. I didn't know what race it was. I thought it was another conference championship of something. I didn't know it was the junior college championship, national championships. So I just turned it on, figuring, I got 45 minutes to kill, 75 minutes to kill on this treadmill. So let's watch this. And they're like, oh, we're coming in from Fort Dodge, Iowa. I'm like, what conference is based in Fort Dodge, Iowa? I've been to Fort Dodge, Iowa. I know Fort Dodge, Iowa. I have relatives that live there. We're near there. And so I've been there, and I'm trying to figure out where they are. But of course I can't tell because it's snowing really hard. But it was a golf course, which I wouldn't know a golf course. So I didn't know where they were in Fort Dodge. But I was like, oh, man, maybe had I known about this ahead of time, I would have gone and stayed at my sister-in-law's house and then gone and watched a snowy race. That would have been super fun to cover. Even though I didn't know any of the athletes. One of the schools that did well is near here. But yeah, I didn't know anyone, but that would have been fun. And then I knew it was going to snow the next morning. So I was super excited for my race the next day. Yeah. Andrew says, snow in Indy yesterday and today. I guess winter is here. I think it's the false winter. I think we're going to get another warm spell. It might not be shorts weather anymore, but it's not going to stay this cold all the way through. You know what I mean? That being said, I do remember that last year for the turkey trot me and my daughter did. Which I guess that's 3 weeks from now. So that's much deeper into the fall / getting into winter. But last year's turkey trot was 14 degrees out Fahrenheit, Daniel Stray says, congrats on the race. Lots of fast people in your age group. Yeah, I was surprised, and I'm a bit embarrassed. I mean, I ran the race like a moron. But I'd looked at some of the times from the race in the previous year, and I was like, one, I feel like this must be a tough course because these times weren't that fast, on paper for 8K. And two, I was like, but I mean, it's all the way out in Elgin. Who knows who comes out there? It's not that big of a race. It wasn't easy to sort the results by age group. So I didn't know what other, and the age group was big, 40 to 49. So I didn't know what age groups would be out there or who was in what age group in terms of who was running fast. But there was 3 other 40 to 49-year-olds that ran faster than me. And some of them ran minutes faster than me. The first, I mean, they would, I thought it looks like they came in pretty close together, but they were a minute and a half apart, the 3 of them, but they were still all 2 minutes ahead of me. So they were fast. There was also a 13-year-old who came in 4 or 5 spots ahead of me. I was racing hard with this one young guy. He must have been in his 20s. But we kept switching off on the lead for a long time. Not the lead, but in our little pack, we were switching off. Basically, anytime we went uphill, he took the lead. And then whenever it flattened out, I took the lead. But, we were kept pushing on the pace. I definitely felt like I was redlining, but looking at the paces just don't make sense for how hard I worked, Yeah, Race Day Running says, hey, Mike, looking forward to hearing about the cross country. So we talked about it last time, and Adam had the good idea of do your warm up, run the course, and then bring a bunch of shoes and decide after you do your warm up. And I didn't need to do that. I was going to do that. But once I saw that it had snowed a good amount in the morning, I mean, not a lot, but like it was the first snow and it was going to, there was enough that it was going to be snowy on the course. Now there was a 3 mile race that went before the 5 mile race. And so that kind of like cleared a path through the snow, but it just kind of made things muddy. But anyway, I figured, having read the course description, there was a lot of gravel road, or some gravel road, and then several creek crossings, and then some like logs to hop over and stuff like that. And so I was like, that doesn't sound like spikes weather. That doesn't sound like I should get out like a race flat. So I just got like the race flattiest trail shoes that I had, which was the S-Lab Pulsar 3, which I ran in them once before in some of my local trails here. And I was like, it feels like you're running in like the inner lining part of a ski boot, with some contact grip on it. So it just feels like a weird sock boot with lugs. And it's super uncomfortable to run in, but I was like, oh, muddy and fast. That's what this is for. And I feel like I made a good choice. This was a Saucony sponsored race, or Saucony sponsors the series, or works with the Dick Pond Athletics, which was the running store that the chain that put on this event. So a lot of people Peregrines were the most popular shoe that I saw out there, which I've never seen more than one Peregrine like at a time ever, and I saw several. So that was pretty cool. A lot of people I think they were wearing Peregrines or maybe Exoduses. Is that a trail shoe from Saucony? I don't know the Saucony line that well. But yeah, so those were popular. One guy had New Balance spikes on, and I was like, that's a choice. And I thought, well, I originally thought that maybe I would run this in like 36 minutes, but I ran it closer to 39 minutes. Even so, 36 minutes feels like a long time for me to be in spikes. I wouldn't even want to do a 5,000 in spikes. So like I did do a steeplechase in spikes, and I probably didn't need to. But going through the water, it was nice to have spikes for a steeplechase. But for this, I think if I had going through a creek with like pebbles on the bottom of it, I think if I had spikes, I would have. I don't know. One, I think my feet would have froze off, but two, I think that I would have turned an ankle. So there's some interesting shoe choices out there. But the main thing is I was way underdressed. Now I thought I thought like might be cold during the warm up, but once I get going, I'll be fine. I never got warm. I was sweating, but like I was cold and just shivering a little bit the entire time. And then going through the creek crossings, that water was frigid, and it made my feet instantly numb. And so that was hard. But it felt like I was constantly like getting jammed through like a creek bed, going through an actual creek crossing, or going up and down or looping around and curling through the woods a bunch. So I really felt like I was just running hard and sucking wind, but I don't feel like I moved very fast. Like I don't think I know how to. I'm not very agile, I guess. So it was hard. It was really, really hard. But yeah, lots of people to run with. There was good, like the people that were working the event were out there, and some people's family members were out there on the course. And it kept kind of like looping back on itself. Like if you think of like the inside of a mitochondria, you know what I mean? So like you could always kind of hear people or like cowbells and stuff. So. Eric's here. He says, what up, what up, what up? He had a nice 6-mile hike with his wife on a rest day. Feels good to take a day off from running and still get to the high country with hills. That does sound nice. A rest day sounds nice, but I think I'm in week 9 of 12 of Valencia Marathon training, and I think 9 and 10 are going to be peak weeks. So last week I hit 80 miles. I think it's the first time I hit 80 miles in a year, if my Strava's right. My second highest in the last 52 weeks was the week before, 77 miles, which I feel like I must have gotten higher than that, but I guess not. So I'm going to try to hit another 80-mile week this week, and then maybe high 70s the following week. What'll be tough is my daughters, both of them, are in a rock climbing competition this weekend, and it's out of town. It's not far, but we will be spending overnight somewhere. So I'll have to figure that out. That'll be tough. And I'm going to move my long run a little bit. But yeah, rest day kind of sounds nice, but I think I can make it 2 more weeks. We'll see. Hopefully my body holds up for the next 2 weeks through all this. Sean says, my run club had its annual holiday party this weekend. I think I'm good on holiday parties for the rest of the year. Vomit emoji and laughing emoji. That's so funny, Sean. That's super cool. I was never into run clubs when I lived in Chicago. And so I've never been to a run club's holiday party. I've seen them on YouTube, but there was this one. I'm trying to remember the name. There was when I just started the switch over from like family vlogging to being a running content creator. There was this one mommy vlogger. I want to say she lived up in the Bronx. She lived in New York for sure. And she would talk about how her husband was a good runner. And I don't think she ever mentioned, or if she did, I didn't recognize the name yet. I didn't know the names of different run clubs yet. But I remember her like going to their run club's like holiday party. And like he got some award for the year, from the run club. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And the dude was fast. The dude was pretty fast. I just don't remember the name of it, but yeah. And then every once in a while I'll see like pictures from like we won 3 run 3 their holiday party stuff, so I get jealous. I'm like, sometimes community's nice, All right, let me scroll down here. I'm real far behind you guys. I've been yapping. Let's see. Johnny says, I've seen photos of the Fast R 3.1. Looks like they've democratized with a more substantial heel for heel strikers. I've not heard anything about that, and frankly, to me, that sounds silly. But because they have the Nitro Elite 3 for that. But I don't know. Who knows what's going on at Puma? It's interesting. JC says, for run club parties, he says, we have a run club volunteer party, but we're mostly old, so it's pretty tame. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a variety of different ones in terms of seeing things on social media. Some of them are like galas, where people get dressed up and they rent a hall and there's like round tables and stuff. And there's a what's the word? DAIS? Like a stage with a podium on it. There's one of those. And like there's like a program, So there's fancy. And then there's others that are just like, yeah, we just got together and rented out the back room at a bar, So, and then everything in between, All right, Rajkumar says, my favorite spikes when it's snowing is the Norda G Plus spike. It's orange. I bought it after Taylor's review from Believe in the Run. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever run in a Norda. Yeah, I've run in normals, but not Nordas. Yeah, I don't think I've ever run in Nordas. Interesting. For mileage, David Fraser says, is that Fraser or Fraser? I'm going to say Fraser. Let me know if I'm saying it wrong. Says, whoa, how are you getting 80 miles in? What shoes have you been wearing? My long runs are like 20 miles, so that helps. And then just the rest of the days, I kind of have to average 10, and that's generally doable. Um, I've been running in, what did I do the last 20 miler in? Fast R3, I think. Yeah, I think I did that 20 miles in the Fast R3. I did like 18 in the Evo 2 a little while ago. I did 18 in the Rocket X3, which are right here. These. So yeah, having long runs really helps in marathon training. And then I've been spending a lot of time in the Bondi 9. I've been liking that one. And then other shoes I'm testing. Like I'm testing the Topo Atmos 2, which is nice because it's a max cushion shoe. So it's nice to have max cushion shoes on the docket. Same thing with the More version 6. Today's run was in the Velocity Nitro 4, which is nice. I did a medium run in the, what was this, Hyperion Max 3. Maybe it was just 10 miles, maybe 11 miles. It's not that long. I've been running in the Hyperion 3 regular. These are the shoes right here that I've been running in. Right here. Yeah. Benjamin David says, are you doing any doubles? I am, but mostly for scheduling reasons. So like Saturday, it was not ideal because I would have liked to have run early in the morning Saturday and then rested a full day before my race. But Saturday was a rock climbing competition that was somewhat local. It wasn't the gym that we go to, but it was in the Chicagoland area. And my daughter was competing in the afternoon. These events need tons of volunteers, and a lot of times it's parents. So I volunteered to be a judge of one of the routes in the morning. So basically, I was at the rock climbing gym from I had to leave the house at 6:30, and I didn't get home till 6:30, and then I had to hop on the treadmill, and then I did 75 minutes on the treadmill at 6:30. So that stunk. I would have loved to have split a day like that up, but instead I was just short on mileage for the day. But yesterday, for example, I did a mile warm up, 5 miles of racing, so 6 miles in the morning, and then my daughter had rock climbing practice again. So at the rock climbing gym, they have a nice full gym there. So I did another 75 minutes. So I did 75 minutes in the evening. So it's a lot of times it's stuff like that, where I try to squeeze in another 45 minutes to 75 minutes on a treadmill in the evenings. So that's tough. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just reading some of the comments. I'm real far behind. Luis says, I saw a Kofuzi while cheering and pacing on yesterday's half marathon Tijuana. He was very surprised that I noticed and also very tired. It was mile 11. That's funny. That's so funny. So I was listening to the Coffee Club podcast the other day, and they were saying that people have been dressing up like Ollie Hoare for Halloween, which I think is easy because he has that bleached hair, not that that's easy, but it's a fun costume to do. And if you already have bleached hair, then it makes for a natural costume to try. And I was trying to think, I don't think I've ever seen anyone dress up as Kofuzi for Halloween, but there are a lot of people who look like me that sometimes I do a double take when I see their pictures, because they're wearing the singlet or a hat, and maybe they have some facial hair and long hair as well. So I've seen that before. I've had to do double takes. I'm I don't remember being there, that kind of thing. Al Davino says, thanks for the Rocket X3 review. I know not ideal for your foot strike, but toe box for me improved over X2 and had some fast races so far in them, pairing them with Skyward X for long training runs. Well, that pairing certainly makes a lot of sense for me. And Is the toe box improved? I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. But I feel like both of them fit a bit on the small side to me. So I guess I just didn't notice that it was improved because it still felt small. And I was like, I don't know if I need to size up on this. But a Skyward X person enjoying the Rocket X3 makes a bunch of sense to me. And I'm glad that you've been doing well in it, you know. Dakota Smith says, hey, everyone, just hit my highest mileage week ever at 40.5 miles last week. Let's give a bell for that. I know it's not a ton for some, but man, it feels good to feel some fitness. I mean, a PR is a PR, and yes, it feels good to feel some fitness. So congratulations on that. Hopefully you're staying healthy. Brian Lacanalau says, it's interesting that Molly Seidel, not being with Puma, went with the Vaporflies for the New York City Marathon. One, I don't know that I knew she wasn't with Puma anymore. And two, I didn't know that she wore Vaporflies. But that's not that surprising to me, because I feel like the Vaporfly is more like the Nitro Elite 3 or the Metaspeed Edge, or I guess the Rocket X3, since we're talking about that shoe too. And Molly Seidel has, I was at a TRE event when the first Fast R came out. No, when the second Fast R came out, the yellow one, right, with the underbite. Not the ones that were red and blue. Remember, that was the first one, super firm, and people raced like 10Ks in them. But the second one, Fast R2, the one that was heavy and had like that yellow, or I guess mint, it was like yellow-green knit material on it. That one, I went to a media event at TRE for it. Rory Linkletter and Molly Seidel were there. And Molly Seidel was like, yeah, I have been very clear with everyone that I do not love this shoe. It's not for me. I could see why people like it, but it's not for me. And it was very funny that like they had her do that. But I don't think she ever raced in the Fast R, which makes sense because she loves the Deviate Nitro Elite. And in fact, I feel like the first two versions of the Nitro Elite were the way they were because of Molly Seidel, I think. Because remember, Molly Seidel, it was like a coup that that Puma was able to sign Molly Seidel over from Saucony after she had gotten the bronze in Tokyo, right? Wasn't it? I'm remembering that right? And so, but either way, even if I got the timing a little bit wrong, I think it was after she made the team, but before Tokyo. I think that's the correct order. And so I always felt like she liked lower to the ground heel striker shoes. And for me, and that's why she liked the Nitro Elite 3. And I'm guessing she didn't, the Nitro Elite series. And I'm guessing she didn't love the Nitro Elite 3 because it felt taller and it didn't feel as low and firm as 1 and 2. I don't know that for sure, but that's my sense. And she has specifically said that she does not like Fast R. So for her to then like her second choice to be Vaporflies makes sense to me. That's probably the shoe that I would pick for her. Not that she would ever ask me, but if she did, that's what I would pick. And clearly she doesn't need me to make choices for her. And Martha says, how did Molly do in New York? She was a DNF, right? That's what I thought. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure she was a DNF. I was thinking that I had heard, I guess she had talked to Sidious Mag or someone and said that she wanted to run a 2:30. That was her goal for the day. And I guess it was supposed to be her last hurrah before she went over to the trails, and then like fully over to the trails. And so, yeah, I was thinking, well, she'll probably hit that 2:30. It's not super aggressive for someone of her talent, but she ended up DNFing. So I don't know. Cosmo Final for Michael. I ran the Indy Marathon on the Fast R3. Number one, I'm glad that you made it there. I was real worried about the travel situation, but I'm glad you made it. He says, oh, it's not the most comfortable shoe, but I felt like I had the widest variety of paces available to me in it. No issues. Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that the race went well and that you made it there and back without too much stress. Hopefully it wasn't too much stress. Raj Kumar says, Mr. Kofuzi, thanks for the mention about Heel Striker in the video related to Puma Deviate Nitro Elite. I bought this shoe after watching it and looking forward to it. Thanks. All right. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Let's see. And Brian says, I think she talks about it on the Run-Up podcast. Oh, that's right. She was on the Run-Up podcast. I did see that. I haven't had a chance to listen to that one, though. Interesting. Dan Johnson says, I ran the state cyclocross course last Saturday. A little over 5K. With a small turnout, I surprised myself with the win. It's been quite a few years, decades since my last win. Well, congratulations, Dan. Nice. That sounds fun. Was it super? Were the hills super punchy? It sounds like I feel like those hills were probably super punchy. And Jeffrey Watkins says, during Grit last year, several people dressed as you. Now that's funny. Awesome. All right. Ramrod says, Magic Speed 4 has been discounted on the ASIC site. Rumor is that the Magic Speed 5 will have a lower stack and move back to the speed-oriented side of the spectrum. Thoughts on MS4 for long tempos at discount? I think it depends on how much you want the discount. That's why those questions are always really hard. People are like, I get some variety of like, this shoe is on sale on this website for this, or I got a buddy who can find me a used pair of this low miles for this for a good price. Is it worth it? I'm like, well, I can give you my review and thoughts on the shoe. After that, whether it's worth it, it's up to you. You know, so it's a question of if you like the number one, do you like the idea of Magic Speed 4 for long tempos? For me, I'm not sure that's the shoe that I would pick. I feel like the best Magic Speed was Magic Speed 2. Magic Speed 3 was also really good, but much more speed oriented. It kind of reminded me of a Topo Cyclone. But it still wasn't like aggressive enough. It just felt very low. And so I feel like they haven't really figured out that kind of like recipe for what the Magic Speed's supposed to be. I want every brand to make a Deviate Nitro competitor, a clone, or an Endorphin Speed clone. Pick one of those two shoes, because they're pretty different, but pick one of those two shoes and copy it. And that's your tempo shoe. If every brand did that, I'd be pretty happy. I guess a lot of you might not, but I feel like what we're getting now in a lot of the tempo shoe categories is weird, and I don't love it. So like Magic Speed, I felt like there wasn't enough FF Turbo in it. It felt tall for no reason. I liked it when I was doing fast work, because then I was actually like pushing into the shoe. But for long tempos, it was a bit firm, you know? So some people love it for that long tempos. If you love it for that, then the discount makes a good decision better, right? But I would never say like, yeah, this shoe is not a good fit for you, but it's so cheap you should get it. I'll never say that. I would never pick that. That's generally my take. I would say if you don't like the shoe, then the discount don't matter, you know? And Dakota says about highest mileage week, thank you. All healthy here. Actually never felt better. Well, That's even better. Awesome. Mm, okay. Mm, Adam says that for Molly, she's not going fully to trails. She says she wants to make the 28 marathon team. Here's the thing that I'm um yeah, I don't I feel like there's a lot of opaqueness with what's going on with Molly Seidel, and I maybe that's not like an intentional obfuscation, right? Maybe she doesn't know what's going on. But I feel like we went from like she's not allowed to compete in races because some of her medications are not permitted, even under a TUE, right? And so I thought that that was part of the reason why she wasn't competing in certain races. Medications that she needs for her health, right? Not frivolous things. I don't think these are not performance enhancing drugs, so I don't understand why they're banned. But like, there were things that she needed, but she couldn't get TUEs for them, right? So I thought that's why she wasn't competing on the roads, and I thought that's why she was moving to trails. Now, if she's saying that she wants to try out for the 28 marathon team, maybe that was, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that is something she wants to do. Maybe she's found a way that in competition, maybe it's these are substances that are banned in competition but not out of competition. Maybe she can titrate or wean off of it, which seems just as unhealthy as certain substances that might be banned. But anyway, I don't know what the story is. And I guess part of that's my fault. I'm not saying that she's hiding anything. I just haven't been listening to any of her podcasts that she's been on, so I don't know. Um, but I don't think there's been any change to the rules as far as I know, you know. Mm. Oh, Frank says usually in that case it's because it disguises regular performance enhancing drugs. Okay. Well, that would make a little bit more sense. Um, but it's an unfortunate situation. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, interesting. Mm. David says, follow up on the 80 miles this past week. Do you ever listen to music or podcasts on those long runs? Thoughts on shocks? So, yes, pretty much every time. The only time I'm not running with music or something in my ears is during a race. Every other time, yes, to something. I mean, I guess if I were on a group run, I'm not doing that. You know, if I'm running with someone else, I'm not. Um, but yeah, if I'm, which is most of the time, if I'm by myself, most of the time, I got something. For easy runs, I love like spoken word, podcasts, audiobooks. I just finished Nick Thompson's book, um, and that was really good. Before that, I listened to Kira D'Amato's book, also very good. Um, it's not a contest, but I like Nick's more than I like Kira's. Um, just putting that out there. But yeah, and then otherwise, I'm listening to podcasts, usually running podcasts. It's just running, 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 running. It's my entire personality. So that's all I ever listen to. For workouts, I'll listen to music. Because I don't want to listen to like podcast banter while I'm like gasping for breath. You know what I mean? That's just kind of that's kind of weird. But yeah. So for shocks, I have never liked their open ear thing where it like vibrates on your temple bone or whatever, and I don't think that works. It's not working as intended. I don't feel like it's utilizing my facial architecture to create acoustic experiences. I just feel like there's a little speaker near my ear canal that's shooting music towards me, and then there's a lot of sound leak as well. So I just started testing out their latest Open Run 2. Um, I normally don't. I normally decline when Shocks asks me. They're very nice. I like the people at Shocks. Everyone that I've met over there has been super nice. I normally decline when they're like, "Hey, we got something new. You want to try it?" I'm usually like, "Is it open ear stuff?" And they're like, "Yep, it's gonna be great." I'm like, "No, thanks." But this pair was on like part of like my media package when I got to France when I was on the Solomon trip. I'm guessing the same PR company represents both. Um, so that's usually how a lot of those like cross promotional things happen. So I got a pair. I brought them home. I ran a 20 miler. My last 20 miler I did in them. Or was it the 18 miler in the X3? I don't know. I'll have to look at the footage. But I did a long run in them. They're fine. They still have this. It's better than they've ever been, but I still don't like them. Now, I've also tried, they have two other ones. They have one that's like an over the ear thing, but it's not connected in the back. I like those. Okay. It's basically, no, for me, not noticeably better than the regular open ear design stuff, but it doesn't have that weird plastic piece that connects them in the back. So I prefer that. But the sound still is lacking to me. It feels like I'm listening to like someone's desk radio in a weird office, with like the volume's really low. There's no bass. It's just really tinny. That's kind of what it sounds like. But I have been using the open one dots. It looks like I'm wearing earrings when I wear those. Those I do like. I don't like them as much as in-ear ones, but as far as anything Shocks has ever made, this is the first one where I don't feel like they've really sacrificed for the sake of the open earness of it. And I feel like the sound quality is comparable to the Bose ones, and I ran in those for a little while, that are also like clip-on earring style, where there's like a little thing that sits like not in your ear, but within your outer ear, but not in your ear canal. So those I like. So that's my take on Shocks. Shannon says Cole likes headphones in his ear hole. That's absolutely correct. Jam it in there. My favorite ones tend to be the ones where you get nice suction, tight fit, and then there's microphones in them that pump in ambient noise so I can still know what's going on around me. That's my favorite. Because for me, on a day like today when it was super windy and I was running along a road with a lot of traffic on it, I couldn't hear anything. All I heard was wind and trucks for like 20 minutes. I guess I could crank up the volume all the way up, but then even then I would only like barely hear it. And so when you have the earbuds that have noise canceling or in the alternative, pass through audio, when it gets super windy like that and you can't hear anything, you can then turn on the noise canceling and then it like muffles all the wind noise and you actually end up being able to hear around you a lot better, in my opinion. So I also have a different use case. I know like they tend to like target women with their marketing from a safety perspective. I don't have a lot of those same concerns. So maybe that's why I don't find the technology as compelling. And so like for me, I'm getting not as much benefit for giving up a lot of sound quality. The dots are the closest one, Yeah. All right. Speaking of Nick Thompson, let's open up this package I got today. I didn't realize in Nick Thompson's book that he would basically go through I feel like I'm an old man now and I don't know if I can run fast anymore. I didn't realize he went through a phase like that. But apparently he did. And as part of it, I think we talked about this before too, right? One of the things he was doing was taking beet juice. He was like drinking beet juice every morning. And I remember I think it was an Alex Hutchinson. Was it an Alex Hutchinson article? Like, there's a bunch of things out there. There's 4 that actually work. Here's what they are. and one was like bicarb, one was caffeine. I think one of them was like sleep or something stupid like that. We're talking when I'm talking about like supplements, I want to talk about stuff I can buy. And then he said like, and they said, oh, beta alanine is one that works, which beta alanine just makes the hair on my arms tingle, and it just makes me jumpy. I don't know if that's all it's supposed to do. And then the other one was like nitrates for like in beet juice. So I don't want to drink beet juice. I love eating beets. I think they're delicious and highly underrated. Like some roasted beets, walnuts, goat cheese, nice olive oil, big flaky salt, really good, right? He said creatine also works. So there was a couple things in that article. But I decided I was on the feed and I was like, all right, I'm going to try to get some of this nitric oxide stuff or like nitrates. I don't want to drink beet juice. Like, is there a powder I can have or a pill? And they actually have them as pills. So I'm going to try this. Is it going to work? I don't know. I got sucked into the dual pack. I don't know which one is which. One of them you're supposed to take every day for a base level of increased nitrates, which is so weird to me to say that because for years when I ate meat, my favorite food was hot dogs, and everyone was like, dude, you like hot dogs and you like bacon. Like the amount of nitrates you're taking in, you're giving yourself cancer. And now they're like, drink nitrates to get faster. So I'm like, what's happening here? Like, can you just eat hot dogs? Does hot dogs work? I have no idea. So I don't, maybe we're talking about different things here, but maybe that's a question for, I'm going to submit that question. I hear beetroot is good for it. Beet juice is good for you because of the nitrates. I also hear there's a lot of nitrates in hot dogs. Can I just eat a bunch of hot dogs before my race to get the same cardiovascular benefit? Herm says, I think we should submit. Can I co-sign your name on the question, Herm? I feel like that would guarantee that they would answer that on Fuel for the Soul. Like me and a friend want to know if beets are good for you because of the nitrates. Can we just have a bunch of hot dogs before a hard workout? If not, do these nitric oxide pills work? But anyway, the way it works, Herm says absolutely co-sign. Okay. So one of them you take every day just to have a lot of elevated levels of nitrates in your system. And the other one you're supposed to take within 5 hours of when your activity is going to end to have max nitrate benefit. I don't know. We'll see if that actually works. But I mean, and who knows? I may be taking it too late for it to matter, but we'll see. Mark says you should get hot dog chews and ketchup gel for your next marathon. I mean, which I think it was for the Houston half marathon, the PR attempt there, where I was like, relish was my mantra word because I should relish when it hurts, you know? I mean, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. It could be like, what is it? Aquafresh? Is Aquafresh the one, the toothpaste that has 3 colors and then you squeeze it and then it comes out in that really nice kind of spiral? I feel, can you imagine if there was a gel like that where it was like one was hot dog flavor, one color was ketchup, and one was relish? That'd be amazing. All right, Tracy Smith goes, okay, here we go. Here's the difference. Nitrates is beets and nitrites is hot dogs. I'm still going to ask the question. Tracy. I'm going to pretend I didn't know that now. And I'm still going to submit the question with me and Herm's name on it. But they might think that I'm teasing them, but that was an honest question I had until you told me about that. And Rob DeGennaro goes, well, if hot dogs are good, would adding chili and cheese make it even better performance-wise? Oh, man. Tracy, I think you should have just let us go the rest of the episode today Maybe you could have sent me like a DM later, but you should have let us go with telling the difference between nitrates and nitrites. Eric says Chicago hot dog is my number one recovery tool after Chicago Marathon. Hit like, punch that, subscribe, and share. That'd be funny. Stevie76 says hot dogs in the New York City heated water. Yeah, hot dog water. Imagine that. Imagine if that. I mean, would that be good? Can you imagine? Like, why is that not a thing at ultras? Can you imagine that? Like, instead of like bone broth, hot dog water in the middle of ultra, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. It's wet. You're frozen to the bone. You get a hot mug of hot dog water and then a pickle shot to back it up. Just a little bit of like that. I mean, that'd be amazing, I feel like. I've never run through the night before, but I felt like if I were cold and exhausted and run through the night, I think I would kind of want that. Cousin Final Michael wants to submit a question. Will this Skyline chili help me break 5 minutes in the mile? Only if there's a toilet at the end of the at the end of the mile. That's funny. I'm surprised as many of you guys know what Skyline chili is. That's pretty nice. I used to eat a lot of Skyline chili, and when I went to school in St. Louis, a lot of people that I went to school with were from Ohio, so they were very familiar. They introduced me to the Skyline chili, and then typically whenever I drove back home or back to school, Ohio was halfway, so I'd always stop at my friend's house and on the way or on the way back, and a lot of times we'd get Skyline chili. It's delicious. I mean, you can't really get a vegetarian Skyline chili. I feel like it defeats the purpose of it. But I do, those are like I miss a lot of regional foods. You know. Vanessa says there's a kid that sets up a lemonade stand on a popular running trail. He always has pickle juice for sale. That's a smart kid. Lemonade with a pickleback? Is that good? I don't. I don't. That I mean that would send your taste buds spinning. Sour and then I guess more sour. I guess it would, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Tracy Smith says this feed will soon be selling hot dog capsules. You know what's fun? You know what's amazing about that? I feel like that was the promise of the future, right? I don't, do you guys remember? Did you guys watch the Jetsons growing up? They didn't eat; they had pills. And remember, Astro would always get into trouble because he would eat. He would like swallow 4 pills, and they're like, "Astro, you just ate 4 ham sandwiches." And he was like, "Yep." I mean, he didn't say yep. He didn't talk. But, you know. But we don't have capsule food, which I guess is good because I enjoy the act of eating, but yeah. Shannon says, this hot dog nitrates for speed is so cozy, not elite run chat. I love it. Maybe we're up to, maybe we're onto something here. I don't know. Rob says, we have to get Clayton on the hot dog diet so he can overtake Connor. Can you imagine that? If it's like, what would you attribute the change in the results here? Well, consistent competence equals eventual excellence. Also, I upped my hot dog intake to 4 to 6 per week for the increased nitrates and nitrites. That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. All right, guys. I haven't eaten lunch yet, so I'm starving now. I gotta get going, but I also do have to hop on another call here. But thanks everybody for tuning in for today. I had a lot of fun. I am gonna submit that question because maybe there are both nitrates and nitrites in hot dogs, and maybe there's something. Maybe this is the next Nerds gummy clusters, right? Maybe this is the next thing. Who wants to drink all that beet juice? Just eat a half dozen hot dogs before your next fart lick, and you'll be good. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll let you know if I find out any information. But that Solomon video that I promised you guys, that one's going to take a while. I don't know. I'm just not feeling motivated to make it. The next video will be about the Topo Atmos 2. And then I'm going to try and get another Valencia training update video out. We'll see. That's going to take a lot of time. So we'll see. We'll see. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Stay warm out there, and I'll see you guys next time.